Well, hello everybody. It's me, the drinker. How the hell are you doing this evening? You know, how's it going? And look, I started on time for once. I am not late and gay, so that's always a bonus when stuff like that happens. See, this is what I'm able to accomplish when I don't have a whole bunch of other people to work around and hold me back. Um, yeah, so it's been ages since I've done one of these Ask the Drinker streams, and this was a little bit of happenstance, I suppose. Mauler wasn't going to be available this week because he's got a whole bunch of stuff that he's working on right now, and I could have probably done an open bar and got like a different co-host in. I've done that before, and Platoon graciously filled in for him in the past. But I thought, no, this is a great opportunity actually to do an Ask the Drinker stream because I haven't done one for ages, and I think recently like I found myself doing more of these like things that I haven't done for a while. Like it's been ages since I've done a Drinker Fixes. It's been a while since I've done a Production Hell, and it's been a while since I've done Ask the Drinker. And I thought it's about time I get back into that and start doing some things I haven't done for a while. So here we are. And so I'm going to do my best to keep you guys entertained for a couple hours. And I'm kind of at your disposal, really. I will do my best to answer any questions that you've got. And it's kind of an open forum, really. But yeah, it's been an interesting week for totally unrelated reasons. I just felt like it was appropriate to wear this T-shirt today. Yeah, totally unrelated. Anyway, yeah, how's everyone doing this evening? Yeah, it's good to see you all. Hello, Sula Felix, GSS Brooklyn, JN266. Salad. I'm going to try and reel off as many names as I can as I go. Yeah, so been kind of an interesting few days, I suppose. And we'll talk a little bit about that as we go through this stream. As we go, I'll try and read out super chats as we progress. Don't worry if I miss any as we do this stream tonight. I'll catch up with them and I'll catch them later, so don't worry about that. But Stormbringer has gifted 10 Critical Drinker memberships, so thank you, sir, for your generosity. You are a legend. 2% Right says, third time's the charm. The last super chat got ruined by Android autocorrect. I feel your pain there, brother. Sorry. Space Cases was a live-action sci-fi children's show in the 90s on Nickelodeon. Fun fact, it starred Jewel State in one of her first roles. All right, well, that is a pretty cool fact. I haven't seen it, unfortunately. So, yeah, I'm sorry that we weren't understanding your super chat initially, but yeah, appreciate for sending that in, man. Yeah, I can always check it out. Thundarius, who's been a member for 5 months, says, how does one become a guest on Open Bar? Love the videos and streams, man. Always look forward to them. Thank you very much. And yeah, there's like no like super there's no hard and fast rules with getting on Open Bar. It's not like I have like a set of requirements or anything for it. It is literally just, sometimes I'll get a creator recommended to me and I'll check out their stuff and think, yeah, they're quite an interesting person. I'd like to have them on the bar. Or I might meet someone through like a mutual friend or whatever. There's a whole bunch of different things that we do. I always try with Open Bar with every episode to have like a good mix of creators on. So, we'll have people that everyone recognizes, like, Gary or Az or whatever, or Platoon, a lot of the regulars that come on. But also like give smaller channels a little chance and bring them on and give them a bit of exposure. And I think it's good to be able to do that and help people out a little bit, because there's a lot of channels that, it would take them a long time to get the kind of traction they need to really grow, and we can give them a bit of a helping hand. And it's nice to be able to do it. So yeah, it's a mix totally. So yeah, usually I'll take a look at a person's work and see what they're like, see what they've got to say, and that's how I base my decision. But yeah, I am horrendous for booking guests on Open Bar. I will tell you this much. When it comes to doing like Friday Night Tights, I get contacted like months in advance to schedule me in. When I when I schedule people for Open Bar, it's like 2 days before we go live. Like, that's it. I am so fucking disorganized with it. But we all work in different ways, What can I say? The Present Fathers podcast says, fun fact, Donald Trump is the first president since FDR to win 3 elections in a row. We are so back. That is contentious. That really is. But, well, you know, the results came in, and the meltdowns haven't been as extreme as I expected from Hollywood. That's kind of the interesting thing. They have been mysteriously quiet, apart from, Mark Hamill. I think we were all curious to see how he would react, but I don't know, man. Like when I compare this to like 8 years ago, there was such a like vocal pushback. Like they were roaring and thumping their chests and talking about how evil the Orange Man was. They have been pretty quiet for the most part, and I think they kind of know that they are not in the position of strength that they were 8 years ago. It's a very different landscape now, and for the most part, they're just kind of cowed. I think that's kind of what it feels like. But yeah, it's been an interesting reaction. So it does make me wonder what the ultimate like pushback will be from Hollywood, I suppose, where they're going to go with this. Or are we going to get 4 more years of movies that every villain is just an allegory for Donald Trump? Or are they just going to say, we need to stop with this political crap? It's not helping anyone, and it's just actively killing our own business. So I'm not sure which way they're going to go yet. They're pretty stupid. So what can I say? Tony Down Under. Let me see. I'm going to see if I can bring up your super chat so people can see it. It keeps skipping by so quickly. Yeah, there it is. Hey, Drinker, and this is for $200 Australian. Hey, Drinker, I'm about to go to my grandma's funeral, and she introduced me to action movies with Delta Force, Under Siege, Rambo, and Commando. I miss her. I was wondering, what are your favorite action films from the stars of the 80s and 90s? Thank you, Drinker, and rest in peace, Grandma. First of all, man, I'm very sorry to hear about your grandma. Obviously, I'm of an age where I've lost my grandparents myself. I've been through it, and it's fucking tough. And I'm sorry that you're going to the funeral tomorrow, but I'm sure if you were able to introduce her to action movies, especially 80s action flicks, then I'm sure you've got some goddamn good memories with her. I know, like, with my own father, like, I watched a lot of action movies as a kid growing up. Like, we'd watch them together, and it was just great fun, man. We would just see whatever was on ITV or Channel 5. That's for the UK viewers. They'll get that. And we just watched that of an evening, and it was just great fun. But as for some of my favorites, Commando is definitely up there. That is fun for all the family. It's great. It's just a perfectly paced action movie, completely over the top nonsense, but I don't care. Rambo 2, again, fills the same niche. Predator, obviously, it's one of the best action sci-fi movies ever made, as far as I'm concerned. I don't think you can top it. Both Terminator movies, because there's only been 2, so definitely recommend them. I do actually like Under Siege. I'm not a huge fan of Steven Seagal generally, but that was probably one of his best ones. I've always had a real soft spot for Top Gun as well. Like, homoeroticism aside, it was just a fucking great movie, and you can't help get pumped up whenever you watch that one. Just trying to think of other ones that would really fit that bill. Probably Universal Soldier as well. I've always had that as a guilty pleasure, but I think it was one of Van Damme's best roles, and it was actually a really fun movie. I think him and Dolph Lundgren really played well with each other, so it would probably be that. Those would be my recommendations. But thank you, man. Let's see what else we got here. God damn, they're coming in too quickly. I can't keep up. Hold on. Let me scroll down, because there was a couple of biggies that came in just as I was talking there, so I'll try and get them before I lose them. Damn, it's too fast. All right, there we go. Mike Redino says, thanks for saving me a small fortune in movie rentals and purchases. That's for $50. Thank you, man. And honestly, thank you for your generosity. This is kind of the approach that I take with a lot of my reviews, especially stuff that's just come out of the cinema. Is it worth a person paying their hard-earned cash to go and see it? And if not, why not? And so that's, I guess, what I try to do. Because I think you can even get some entertainment from a relatively dumb movie or whatever if it's at least fun. At least there's something there, and it makes it worth 2 hours of your time, and however many hundreds of dollars it takes to get you and your family there to the cinema. So, yeah, if I've saved you a bit of cash over the years, then thank you, man. I'm glad I've been able to do my job. In fact, you know what I'm going to do? I'm gonna see if I can get to the end of this bottle, right? So every time I get a super chat of $50 or more, I will take a shot of my Jack here. So this is probably going to end badly, but anyway, Mike, here's to you, man. Cheers. Ooh, that goes down smooth. Anyway, what's the next one here? There's another one. BChain315 says, when discussing video games, I don't recall if I've heard you mention the Elder Scrolls. Have you played them? Very important to me. I've given a lot to see an Elder Scrolls movie show pre-2015. God forbid that they try it now. Super worried for Elder Scrolls 6. Fucking pronouns! Fuck, I need to do another shot, actually, because of that. This is going to go badly. I can sense it. Yeah, so never really got into the Elder Scrolls series. I'm kind of picky with like my RPGs and stuff like that because they are such a massive time sink, and so I guess you have to be kind of choosy about which ones you get into. And the Elder Scrolls series was just never one that I did. So unfortunately, I just don't know enough about it to really comment on it. So apologies on that. I mean, I'm swithering here over over Dragon Age Veilguard because I played Dragon Age Inquisition and completed it like 10 years ago and really enjoyed it. I thought it was good fun. I have no idea how good or bad the sequel is. I mean, it seems pretty terrible from what I've seen. And I think for me, it's going to come down to like the combat and the game mechanics and stuff. Like if that's fun, you can maybe tolerate the shit dialogue and the shit storylines. But if the moment-to-moment gameplay is really good, then that's something. But I don't think it's meant to be that great. So yeah. Let me keep going here. Sorry. All right. There's too many. I can't see. Next one is Rob Cortez says, "What up, drinker? Greetings from Southern California." Oh, sorry, I didn't do the shot actually. So yeah, here we go. Right, nice. This stream's gonna be over in like 30 minutes, guaranteed. What up, drinker? Greetings from Southern California and a county that flipped red. It's a beautiful day in the USA. Very well done, man. Awesome. And yeah, California's an interesting one, I suppose. I imagine it's a pretty blue state for the most part, but there's going to be little counties within it, I suppose, that are more rural, and that's what you're going to end up with. But yeah, stay strong, man, and I'm sure you're happy with the election results. Let me see. Yeah. Love your work, drinker. A Friday morning in Oz, so just started work and listening to you. An open bar every week is the best way to start the day. Also read your first 3 books recently. Love them. Awesome, man. Thank you. And yeah, I'm glad you enjoy my stuff. I'm glad you enjoy open bar and the books that I've written. So cheers, man. What was the other one here? Yeah. How's the 2-monitor life? I do have 2 monitors now because you can probably see my head going from side to side here. Yeah. I put it out on Twitter the other day. Should I have 2 monitors? Because I've got I started out with like just an ultra wide monitor, so I could kind of have 2 windows simultaneously, but they were a bit squished. Yeah, and I did not anticipate how strongly people felt about this sort of thing. But yeah, I got like 4,000 comments from people saying, yes, absolutely have 2. In fact, have 5. How do you even survive like this? And yeah, like I say, like when you've got a really widescreen monitor, generally it's not too bad. But I do generally have, like when I'm working on video editing and stuff, everything's just on one like full screen tab, and I just have to keep switching between them. But yeah, I got two now, and it's pretty cool actually. The only downside is I have to move my base unit and put it like at the side of my desk because it won't fit onto the main desk now because like the two monitors take up all the space. So anyway, after that thrilling conversation, there you go. That is how I'm getting on with two monitors anyway. Let me start at the beginning just there for the super chats because I know there was a bunch that came in just before I started as well. Coyote says, do you think Trump's re-election will drive up the woke Hollywood so that we get more bad movies and shows? Yeah, like I was saying earlier, I don't know which direction they're going to go with this. They might just be having a bit of reality check at this point, and they might realize like this stuff that we've pulled for the past 8 years, people aren't buying it anymore. And we are losing money hand over fist. We can't keep doing this. And so it might be the executives, I think, that step in and say, right, enough with the politics, enough with the preaching. Let's just make stuff, make good movies, and that's it. That's the ideal scenario. Excuse me. Oh, that Jack Daniels is coming back. The other option is they lose their minds and they go completely the other way. And every movie is just like the villain is just an allegory for Trump, and it's all about like telling us how wrong we are and how we all need to do better and all that stuff. I don't know which way they'll go at this point, and it's too early to tell. But like I say, they've been mysteriously quiet for the most part. So yeah. I think someone needs to do a wellness check on Mark Ruffalo as well. Someone asked me there. Yeah, here we are. What's your favorite film trilogies outside of Lord of the Rings? So probably Back to the Future. I fucking love all three of those movies. Yeah, they're going to take some beating. Aside from that, could I say the Alien movies? Because the third one's such a fucking downer, but the first two are so amazing. Yeah, I'll give it that. You know, for a deeply flawed third entry, I think the Alien movies are worth it. For Terminator as well, like two amazing movies, and a third one that's a bit shit. So I would still hold it up just for the first two. It's worth tolerating the third one just for that. So I guess those would be my choices for the most part. Radio Specs says, Drinker, I was introduced to you and Mahler's channels about 3 years ago, and my way of experiencing media has been blessed. I can't thank you guys enough for your work in articulating what good movies are and how to think about what good media is. Well, thank you. And we do our part, you know. Certainly from Mahler's point of view, he goes into much deeper analysis about what works within a story, you know, character breakdowns, plot events, like the consistency of the writing. Like I try to do that as much as I can, but like my videos are, you know, infinitely shorter than his. But yeah, if we can get people just being a little bit more discerning and being a bit more analytical about the movies and the TV shows that they watch and just understanding a bit more about how they fit together, then we've done our jobs, I suppose. And once you're armed with that toolkit, I suppose, to understand stories a little bit better, you don't need us anymore. You can just do that and apply that to every movie that you watch. And I think it'll help you a great deal. So yeah, I'm glad we can do that a little bit for you. So appreciate it, man. But because that wasn't $50, it was $49.99. I don't have to do a shot for that one. So I dodged a bullet there. John the Beard has just joined as a member. So welcome aboard, sir. Thank you. Yeah, Dark Hour says somehow Happy Hour returned. It did indeed, yeah. It was great to do that one with Space Ice, actually, where we talked about On Deadly Ground. And, you know, I want to do more of them because, like I said before, it's been a time recently because it's kind of a quiet period for movies and TV shows where I've had an opportunity to catch up a little bit and do things that I haven't done for a while. And, you know, the Happy Hour, the Ask the Drinker, especially the Drinker Fixies, because those ones do take a bit longer to do because, like, it requires a bit more thought on my part. I've had the time to do it, and it's been great to get back to doing that stuff because I do want to have, like, a variety of content on my channel. I don't just want every video to be like fucking woke Hollywood in meltdown because Disney sucks and feminism is awful or whatever. Like, that's got its place, I'm sure, but like I don't just want to be ranting about that stuff over and over again. If I make my point about something, fine, I do it and then I move on. And I do like to get into the mechanics of writing, of the production of movies and how they go, and the things that can go wrong. Like, it's such an interesting process, like all of this stuff. And it's nice to be able to talk about that a bit more. And I've even found a bit more time to do like extra shots reviews on my second channel where I'm talking about like horror movies and stuff that I enjoyed as a kid. So all this stuff is just, it's just a nice bit of variety for me, I suppose. I don't want to get stuck in a rut with the content that I make. Yeah. You haven't done real content for a minute now. The last two videos were really good. Thank you. I appreciate it. Like I say, I'm glad you enjoyed them. And, I know they won't get the views that other videos make with more sensational headlines. Like, I know if I do like a production hell on Full Metal Jacket, which is my most recent one, and like I'm talking about a movie that's like 30 years old, it's not going to get the kind of viewership that other videos make. But that doesn't matter. Sometimes it's more important to talk about things that either you're interested in or that maybe are a bit more specialized for your audience, or just giving yourself a bit of a break from doing the usual stuff. So no, I'm glad that people can appreciate stuff like that when it comes up. Jasper Lane gave me a $50 super chat. Says, "Drink up, bitch." Well, sir, if you insist. All right, hold on. All right. Well, you earned it, sir. You paid for it. So here we go. Here's to you. Oh, yeah. This stream's going to end badly, I can tell. What was this one? Unhinged. Drinker, before you do a $50 shot thing, consult with Yellowfash to see how it ends. Oh, has he done this on stream as well? If it doesn't end with me vomiting and pissing my pants live on stream, then I consider this a failure, Let me do some of the other super chats that came in before we started this stream, actually, so I can kind of catch up a little bit. It was J.K. Fozel says, "Hey, all, what are your all-time favorite comedic lines from any movie? Also, if Muller could use his southern accent, that would tickle me. Cheers." You understand that this is just me, right? Like, this isn't open bar. But yeah, in terms of what my favorite all-time lines, a lot of them come from like the Cornetto trilogy, man. Yeah, I always love the bit where they shoot this guy in the foot and like blow half his foot off, and it's in Hot Fuzz, and they just go, "You're a doctor, deal with it." And then Nick Frost just goes, "Yeah, motherfucker." It's so unnecessary, but it's so good. In terms of other ones, yeah, Tropic Thunder had some amazing ones. Yeah, I think most of them came from Tom Cruise, where he would say like when he's ranting on the phone to what he thinks are like rival studios trying to poach his stars, and it's actually like militias in like the jungle in Cambodia, and you're like, take a deep breath, take a step back, and literally fuck your own face. He just lays into it so well. It's brilliant to watch. Love it. Lado Berlin says, "Hola, drinker. Started my Spanish YouTube channel and I'm fighting for the last 400 hours for monetization. I'm loving the process, but I'm curious, how do you handle the excitement and anxiety at the beginning?" You don't really. It just becomes this weird roller coaster ride. I was lucky in that I suppose I did YouTube maybe 10 years ago. And I got into writing and stuff. And I got my first publishing deal. So like YouTube was just a little hobby that I did in the background. And I ended up knocking that on the head and taking a break from it. And then getting back into writing, really devoting myself to that. But then when I came back to it, I was older by that point, and it was easier. I was kind of more used to it, and just doing little videos here and there, getting a few hundred views, and then suddenly they started ramping up, and then I had one or two go viral. And then it just became this crazy kind of roller coaster where you're trying to keep up with what's going on. And it's never really ended. And I suppose that's the interesting thing about doing what I do, and is that you're kind of never really switched off. You're always kind of doing something, and you always have something in the back of your mind. Like, oh, I need to reply to these messages, or I need to do a live stream for this, or I need to get a video out for that. And it just it kind of stays with you, but it's a good problem to have. It just means that you have to be kind of always switched on with it. So yeah, it's kind of an interesting one. Next one is from George the Giant Slayer. Oh, fuck, it's 50. Hail Drinker, what do you think about the MPA congratulating Trump plus Robert Zemeckis' latest interview, where he said it's the script for Who Framed Roger Rabbit sequel, but Disney won't do it because Jessica is too hot. Bottoms up. Fuck. All right, let's get this out of the way first. All right, there we go. Okay. Cheers. Oh, it gets less smooth every time. So the Motion Picture Association of America congratulating Trump. It's an interesting one. I don't know if this means that they are going to try and chill out a little bit with what they do. Maybe that means that Hollywood's not going to be fighting him every inch of the way. Is it a bit of a white flag saying like, okay, we give up. Like, we see where things are heading. Not sure. It's an interesting one, though. It's an interesting choice that they've made. But yeah, we'll see where it goes, I suppose. I think there's still going to be holdouts within Hollywood that are just mad about this forever. So yeah, maybe that's the leadership there has recognized that they've kind of lost. And as for Robert Zemeckis, he's 100% right. Jessica Rabbit was obviously a very sensual character, the way they drew her, and they'll never get away with that now. So he's 100% right. Zemeckis is based as fuck. He said that he's never going to let a Back to the Future remake get done, and that is absolutely the correct way to go. So yeah, I hopefully they never do another like Who Framed Roger Rabbit if that's the way it's going to be. What was the other one? Oh shit. So this is, let me see if I can bring it up here. Where are you? Yeah. Rare Bear for $50. I'm not gonna make it through this stream, man. All right, here we go. Another shot. Fuck. I'm gonna have to start pouring smaller ones here. All right. Bottoms up to you, sir. Right. Animated films usually have good, lean, and efficient writing. Disney and everyone else wants to adapt animated films into live action, but nobody's adapting live action into animation. What live action movie do you think would be cool as animation? This is kind of an interesting question. I think Mauler and I tackled something like this the other day. I feel like video games, like adaptations that have had like live action, might lend themselves better to animation, actually. Like, the weird thing is the Netflix animated Tomb Raider show was actually kind of a good idea, because I think like it allows you to get around the difficulty of casting an actor. In terms of the it's a tough one to do in terms of physically casting an actress like that, and so I think it might make sense to do it with animation. You could either do it with CGI or just like quite stylized animation, like they did with something like Arcane, which kind of fits with the ethos of Lara Croft. I think that would be okay. So yeah, that would probably be a suggestion. Another one might be, something like if you were going to do the Final Fantasy games, like role playing games where it's very like stylized, very like RPG, fantasy realm. What was this other one here? Oh, where is it? Oh, are people saying that I'm? Let me just check. Can everyone see me at the moment? The stream is drunk. Oh dear. Let me check to make sure. Can you guys hear me and see me now? Ah, good. Okay, I'm back. Yeah, it must have. Yeah, I think the stream kind of glitched out there for a second. But that is okay. I am here. Yeah, so good now. Yeah, it's funny. I feel like we've had bad luck with our streams, and it's not been weirdly. It's not been down to my terrible Scottish internet. It's actually been YouTube having a few issues, but seems like it's okay there. Yeah, seems like it's all right now. Okay, cool. We can rest easy, and we're back. All right. What was the other one? Christopher Bailey has joined as a new member, so welcome aboard the Fellowship of the Drinks, sir. What's the next one? Low, and this is for 50 CHF. I don't know what that is, but I think that is not actually $50, so I will not take a shot for that. I'm definitely not just trying to avoid spewing here. He says it's not a good night. Sorry, it's not a good night unless you wake up in a bush in a garden down the street. I've done that. Also, what are your top 3 Paul Newman movies? Now imagine if those would ever be made now. Oh, God. Paul Newman, probably Cool Hand Luke. I know it's kind of an obvious one, but God damn, he was good in that. Towering Inferno. I've just got such a soft spot for disaster movies like that. And 70s disaster movies just had a charm to them that you don't see nowadays. So, yeah, probably The Towering Inferno and probably Road to Perdition, because it was such an interesting role for Newman to do a villainous role like that, and he played it so fucking well. And I think it was one of his last on-screen roles. So, yeah, I suppose they would be my top picks for Paul Newman movies. I do remember he did the voice for Doc Hudson as well in the Cars movies, which was just great. Yeah, I like this one. Where was it? Now that Mueller isn't here, how much do you actually hate him? Immensely. There is no limits to how much I hate Mueller. he's just too damn Welsh. No, honestly, like I've been lucky enough to meet, and form friendships, I suppose, and get to know guys like Mueller, Gary, over the years, and they are genuinely fucking good guys. They are really nice people, and they are 100% genuine as well. It's not like they become different people behind the scenes or anything like that. It's they are just what you see is what you get, and I think there's a lot to be said for that. And I think in the online space, man, there's a lot of people who are kind of two-faced out there, and who will be nice to your face and talk shit about you behind your back. But like, I've been lucky in that a lot of these guys that I've come to know, they are not like that at all. Like, they are just solid guys. So yeah, it's great to have had a chance to get to know them and to be able to hang out with them as I do. So it's good stuff, man. Okay. Enclave here, and this is for 50 Canadian dollars. So okay. I'll accept that. I'll accept that as a 50. Hopefully, the glorious dictator Justin Trudeau will be the next out of office. Seeing Trump win kind of gives me hope for the West. God bless America and God bless the Enclave. By the way, have you gotten snow in Scotland yet? No, weirdly, it has been bizarrely mild and sunny here. Honestly, like, I took the doggos for a walk today, and I was wearing like shorts and t-shirt. It was that kind of weather. It was insane what it's been like recently. It's mid-November now, and yeah, we're getting sunny, warm weather. So I don't know what's going on, but I'm fine with it. Yeah, we'll hold off on the winter weather a little bit longer. You know, I'm fine with that. But well, cheers to you, man. Oh, yeah, it's going down well. All right, what else we got here? We got Campbell Patterson, who's joined as a new member, and also Christopher G, who's joined as a new member. So welcome aboard, sir. What I'm going to have to do is let me just, because basically I had my YouTube control panel up here, so that I could see the new super chats that came in. And it died, so I have to just go back into it. It's okay, though. I've got 2 monitors to play with, so, you know, I don't even have to take my eyes off what I'm doing right now. Let's see. There we go. Okay. So, catching up on the ones that I was just trying to get to. Let me see here. Oh, yeah. Ben Mangerer says, Mauler, Arcane this weekend. Gary needs to finish. He does, yeah. And it's it's pretty cool that it's coming out this weekend. I hope season 2 is going to live up to the promise of the first one. Fingers crossed it does, because yeah, we could do with some good new TV shows. Penguin's about to end, so yeah, we need something else. And yeah, fingers crossed, Arcane's going to be good. Stormbringer gifted 10 Critical Drinker memberships. So thank you, man. I appreciate that. What's that? Trup Pignat says, sorry if I butchered your name there. I would love to hear your opinion on the old TV series Blackadder. I love the series as it was hilariously sarcastic in a very British way. Yeah, Blackadder basically epitomizes British humor. Very dry, very sarcastic. And fairly funny. And Rowan Atkinson was just born to play that character in all his different iterations, you know, whether it was like, you know, during the 16th, 17th century, all the way up to like World War One. And that shit got real towards the end. Yeah, that final episode was, it was a tough one to watch. It really was. But yeah, they did a fucking good job with it. I think British writing back in the day, they were really skilled at weaving together tragedy and comedy. I think they understood that there was sometimes a fine line between the two. And man, Blackadder just epitomized that, especially Blackadder Goes Forth. So yeah, it's good stuff. B-Chain says, that's right, Drinker. Throw all the others under the bus. Kathleen Kennedy would be proud. Exactly, yeah. It's me. It's all me who just makes open bar happen. Not anyone else. No one else contributes to it. So finally, I've been unburdened by what has been, and now I'm free to be myself or whatever. I don't know. Flav says, nice re-shirt that you've got there. Thank you. Yes! This entire broadcast was designed for modern audiences. Yarmouth says, let's hear it. What were the best 2 films of the 90s, and is one of them better than the other in your opinion? Why? The whole 90s. Good God. I think Terminator 2 might be up there just because I love it so much. It's probably not like the best artistically or anything, but man, I think that film's fucking awesome. Pulp Fiction is obviously another easy choice. Fight Club, that was 99. Saving Private Ryan from 1998. But then you've got other ones like Schindler's List, where it's like serious and heavy but fucking incredible storytelling. I don't know, man. The 90s was actually a surprisingly amazing decade for movies, and it's tough to pick 2 of them. But yeah, those would be some of my top picks, I suppose. And it's such an eclectic mix, but yeah, that's sometimes what you get with movies. Chilton says, hey, Drinker, I and everyone else want to thank you, Nerdrotic, as Ryan Kinno and Geeks and Gamers, for your support of Trump on social media. We're winning the culture war. Masculinity is coming back. Thanks. Nice one, man. And yeah, we're so fucking back, baby. The thing is, on social media, like I even with the content I make, I try to be overtly unpolitical because I'm not about getting involved in elections and stuff, especially in a country that I don't even live in. Like, I'm not going to presume to lecture people on who you should vote for as an American because I'm not one and I don't understand the issues that Americans face. All I can do is observe what my friends are doing, my friends who actually live in America, and if they're happy, then I'm happy, so all good. Lucifer says, happy hour, natural born killers with Az and Dank. Fuck yeah, if they're up for that, I'd be up for it for sure. Avarith says, Dark Knight is objectively bad. Thoughts? Yes, it is. I spent like an entire video dismantling the problems with that movie. It's insane. I don't know how Christopher Nolan, a guy who's known for airtight storytelling, or at least, like putting a great deal of thought into his narratives, could produce something so flabby and so lazy, for lack of a better word. Yeah, that movie was so fucking disappointing as an ending to the Dark Knight trilogy, which up until that point had been pretty fucking incredible. Yeah, Thundarius says, how does one become... Oh, I've got that one already. How do you become a guest on Open Bar? Anyone's become a member of the Fellowship of the Drink, so welcome aboard, my friend. Siani Reese says, loving the shirt. Do you self-publish or do you go through a publishing company for your books? So I go through the traditional publishing route. So I was lucky enough. I mean, I got my first publishing deal 12, 13 years ago. I was able to get myself an agent and then get myself a publisher. And so I was able to go the traditional route. And, there's nothing against self-publishing, but you're really hamstrung by your lack of advertising ability. The way you sell books, certainly in the UK, is to get your books into bookstores and, more importantly, supermarkets. That's where people make impulse purchases of books and new authors that they might not have heard of. Supermarkets and airports. That's what they aim for as publishers. And as a self-published author, you don't have the ability to get into any of those places. Yeah, it definitely was helpful for me to go the traditional publishing route, but I recognize that not everyone can do that. And it's good that self-publishing is now there as a pretty legit way out for people, I suppose, to still get their work out there. So it's good. Tom Waiting says, favorite American detective series? I always had a soft spot for Columbo back in the day. I fucking loved that guy. I think there's a lot of nuance to his character beyond just the trench coat and the shabby portrayal. Peter Falk just did a great job with him, but like, it's the way he uses that to get people off guard. He seems like this bumbling detective who doesn't really notice things or whatever, and his perfect line, his catchphrase would always be, "Oh, just one more question," and that's how he would get people. And I love that about him. I thought that was a really smart bit of writing. So yeah, Columbo is probably my favorite. The Present Fathers podcast says, fun fact, Donald Trump was the first president since FDR to win 3 elections in a row. Oh yeah, we're so back. I saw that one. Stephen DeLeon says, thoughts on the Penguin? I'm very happy with the Penguin so far. The latest episode, god damn, that had a dark opening. Yeah, it's some good stuff. Great character work, great performances, the cinematography, all the editing and everything, all great. Yeah, it's a really fucking good show. So I definitely recommend The Penguin to anyone who's looking for a decent bit of TV. It kind of fills that Sopranos gap, but like I suppose it's like the Sopranos if they existed in a sort of mildly superhero-ish world. That's kind of what you end up with. But I think they do a great job with it. So yeah, Colin Farrell probably given the performance of his career right there. Yeah, good stuff. Scott Leo says, how have you seen the average citizen of the UK react to the US presidential election this week? Well, that's implying that I actually go outside and talk to average citizens, which I'm not inclined to do. So I don't know. I think in the UK, just based on the coverage that you get on the BBC and stuff, it's it's not as extreme as what you saw in 2016. It's more just a kind of weary, right, okay, this is what we're doing now, is it? That seems to be their attitude towards it. So yeah, I think what's funny is like our government here having to congratulate him on winning when you can tell every single one of them fucking despises him. And they've pretty much said as much on social media. So yeah, the fact that they now have to play ball with him is kind of funny. Yeah, like that. Drinker doesn't socialize with the plebs. I know, like, I can't stand poor people. I'm just fucking kidding. God. Yeah, you'll have some great nights out in Scotland, especially once you've had a few beers and you get randomly talking to people. It can happen, and you'll get some fucking great stories. So yeah, don't let that put you off. Robert Hayes says, so if it was 1987 again and you're given the task of writing and directing Alien 3, what would you do? Oh, okay. Right. This is a good question. Wouldn't have said it on the Prison Planet. I think you're probably going to have to escalate it from Aliens, which I know sounds like a bit of a cop out, but you know, we've had the aliens fight. You know, we fought them on their planet of LV-426. You know, you had a squad of colonial marines. I think you would maybe have to deal with an outbreak on Earth, perhaps. You know, Ripley, Hicks, and Newt get back to Earth. They've either got like an alien egg on board, or like the company manages to smuggle one out from the colony and like brings them back to study them, and then there's an outbreak, and they've got to try and survive it or get out or whatever. I think that's probably where you would go in terms of like escalating the story, but try and keep it still focused on them, because the number one thing for me would be don't kill off Hicks and don't kill off Newt. Like, they have got to be in the next movie and they've got to have a meaningful role in it. And I think if you're talking about like taking on the aliens again, you're going to need Hicks, and Ripley's going to have to be somehow dealing with Newt, like protecting her or something. You could even have it that the Sulaco gets intercepted by Weyland-Yutani, and you know, they bring them aboard. They unbeknownst to them, the alien queen had laid a few eggs on board the ship, and then there's like an outbreak of xenomorphs there. That allows it to stay somewhat contained, but still have an escalation of stakes and stuff. There could be something like that. But yeah, I think that would be my approach. It would probably just be like taking Aliens, the general pace and tone and emotional stakes of Aliens, and just like cranking it up a notch, which I realize is, you know, not terribly imaginative, I suppose, from a storytelling point of view. But I think you're going to want to give the fans what they're looking for. And I think Aliens had already gone down that route of action over horror, so you know, you can't really then pivot back to horror again. Maxim Rush says, thoughts on the Transformers movies? I lose my way a bit with the Transformers movies because they just never let up. You know, I watched like the first 3, I think, that had Shia LaBeouf in them, and they were fine. They were just dumb. They were Michael Bay movies, and it was all fine. I think that you almost like didn't need the humans in it. Like, I would have been happier with just like the Autobots versus the Decepticons, you know, and just give them a bit of a storyline. I think that would have been okay, because the humans just feel surplus to requirements most of the time. But they were fine for what they were. I didn't feel like I needed about 10 of them, which is what we got. So yeah, that's part of the problem. Crit Nature says, this is for 50 CHF. So it says it's Swiss francs and it's more than $50 actually. So another one for me. Cheers. Okay. Okay. That's a shot. That's a shot. Hold on. Let me just pour this. I'm gonna. It's not quite full because I have to pace myself a little bit. I didn't reckon for this. All right. Cheers. Wow. Might need a moment here. Okay. Okay. I'm good. All good to go. Thank you, sir. Appreciate your generosity. Next one is Doyus Doy says, "Hey yo, love the Space Marine. Sorry, the Space Marine Space Ice stream. That guy's an absolute stud. Have you watched Wendigoon's YouTube film Stalker? I haven't seen that yet. No. But yeah, it was a pleasure to stream with Space Ice the other day, and I figured, we had him on open bar, and like we were talking about a lot of like stuff that I felt like he wasn't quite into, and so we didn't really get the best out of him. So I wanted to meet him on his home turf, as it were, and that's why I thought, like, let's do a Steven Seagal movie. You could pick it, and so he suggested On Deadly Ground, and I thought, yeah, that is perfect. And it was just, yeah, he's a great guy to talk to. He obviously knows his stuff when it comes to Steven Seagal movies, so it was all good. Gavin Rust says, "Hail the drinker. Any plans or concepts for another novel in the future? Cheers." Yes, I do. As it happens, I was kind of wanting to oversee, Rogue Elements and get that out, but it did rekindle my interest in doing more Ryan Drake novels, because when I finished the series as it was, like, I'd done 9 books and 2 novellas, so like quite a lot of content there. I kind of brought the main storyline to a close, but I left a few hooks in there so that I could do more. And I was quite interested in seeing, like, well, what happens to Ryan Drake and the others once we get beyond this main storyline, because it had fallen behind, the real world that we were in. It was set, I think it started in 2007, although I didn't write it until 2011. And then it finished up in 2011, but it was like 2019 by the time I got the final book done. And so I thought, okay, what if we jump forward 10 years or so to bring it up to date? What's going on in the world? There's, like, obviously the war in Ukraine, Russia's flexing its military muscles again. You've got China, like, making moves on Taiwan and all that stuff. And it's kind of an interesting world now that we live in. Like, what can we do with these characters now? So I'm definitely interested in doing that. It's just I have to then set aside at least 6 months to write the novel, and then another few months of editing and all that stuff. And it's kind of difficult, man. I'm not going to lie. It's kind of difficult to do that when you've got like 3 YouTube channels to maintain, which is essentially what I do. So I've yet to find a solution to that particular problem. I don't want to just stop making YouTube content, because, it's a bit shit to just like leave that behind. And I have to pay. I've got bills to pay as well. But yeah, I do want to find a way to do it. So I will try and find a way, I guess. There will be more books that I want to do, because I enjoy the process of writing a novel. Like, it's a great thing to be able to do. And I'm very lucky that I've been able to do it 10 times now at this point. But yeah, I'm looking forward to doing more when I can. Jedi Brooks says, District 9 happy hour. Don't forget. What, are you volunteering? If so, let's do it, man. Because you've been on happy hour you've been on open bar a few times. So yeah, for sure. Let's do District 9. That'd be good. Sean Ford says, listening to you on your podcast, I'm now 40,000 words into writing my first book. Listening to any and all advice that this channel is given. Well, good. People sometimes ask me for writing advice. That's why I put, like, literally writing advice videos on my second channel, because I wanted to try and get that out there. And then, it's there as a resource for people to refer to. But yeah, good on you for doing 40,000 words so far. Keep it up. I think you've probably broken the back of this one. So that you're through the tough bit now. For me, it's always the midpoint of the book that's the hardest part to do. That's when you're starting to lose your energy, but you're a long way from the end. So you've just got to grind it out. That's all the way. B Buster says, I probably will be in Grand Rapids to see you and Gary. Cheers. Yes. Next weekend, I'm going to be there in Grand Rapids. Looking forward to that. Me and Gary are going to be there. We're going to be meeting people. We're going to be getting drunk, or at least I am. Gary's sober now. God. Anyway, I'll drink for both of us. And yeah, if you guys are in the Grand Rapids area, then we'll hopefully see you there. Jesus Davila says, Drinker, hypothetically, if you were to make a live-action Dead Space, what approach would you take? Thoughts, what perspective of the marker outbreak would have the audience look through? I'm trying to think about how I would do this. I would probably take the Event Horizon approach of, rescue crew gets to like derelict spaceship. We've got to figure out what happened to the crew. They encounter, all kinds of horrors along the way. They gradually piece together what was going on there. I mean, the game sets out the template for you to do it pretty effectively. I think that's probably the best way to do it. Gradually discover the shit that they were working on that ship, and then reveal the horrors, to the audience. Like, there's plenty of body horror and stuff you can work in there, obviously. So yeah, I think it's kind of tailor made for that kind of thing. I'm surprised they haven't done it already. And Silver Lining says, do you think the corruption of femininity message MSG Hollywood is pushing is just a natural continuation of the corruption of masculinity message prevalent in the 80s? Womanizing can't be tied down equals manly. It's an interesting position we find ourselves in because, yeah, with most characters now in modern movies, you've got the women who are generally stoic, composed, focused, task-oriented. They are just there to get shit done, and they got no time for anyone who stands in their path, and they're just amazing at everything. You've got the guys who are generally like way more emotional and hyperbolic than any guy that you'll actually talk to. They act more like women, essentially. And I don't know if it's just a result of writers who live in the LA bubble, and so they've never interacted with normal people, so they've got no benchmark for what a man and a woman actually talks and acts like, or they're trying to engineer people to act a certain way. But man, it's really fucking difficult, funnily enough, to overcome like a million years of evolutionary development for humans. So yeah, people know it's bullshit. They know it's not how normal people act, and they know it doesn't ring true. So this is partly why they've failed so consistently for years now. Yeah. Dead Gamers, alien films are not meant to be happy ever after films. They're not, but at the same time, I think if you look at the ending of Alien, Ripley has survived, and like her future is at least meant to be like cautiously hopeful, I suppose. And same with Aliens, Ripley, Newt, and Hicks and Bishop are all alive at the end of that film. Fuck Alien 3. Again, you're meant to think like, okay, they've been through hell, they've been through a horrific experience, but they might be okay now, or they've at least got a chance at a future. Certainly, you don't want to see, 3 of the 4 get killed off screen before the next movie even starts. So they're kind of grim, dark, realistic movies in a lot of ways, but like there's still a kernel of hope, I suppose, in them. Let's see. Yeah. George the Giant Slayer says, make movies great again. All hail Drinker. Thank you, my friend. And yeah, we will do our best. Hopefully we'll get movies into a good place. Cat Breath Media says you should have good bad flicks on. Well, I mean, I could, but like he's a pretty big channel, so I don't know if he'd be interested. I don't know if he even live streams or anything. This is the thing, like sometimes people will name channels and say like, oh, you should get Pitch Meeting on, or you should get Jeremy Johns on, or you should, whoever. And it's like, okay, I'm totally on board with that. But like, I don't know if these people ever do live streams or anything like that. And they might just not be interested. And so that's the problem that you've got. Like if they're up for it, I'm up for it, basically. Verity Johnson says, my ancestors are from Fife and I'm planning a trip there. What are some cool places in Fife or nearby? Essentially, don't go to Fife. Go to Edinburgh. It's way more interesting. But actually, no. Go go to the eastern end of Fife, right, and go to like St Andrews and stuff. That is a really posh, nice like city that you can visit, and it's quite pretty. So yeah, go up to the east end of Fife. That's where all the rich people live. Donald Freeman gave us $5, so thanks, man. Mizzy Moore says, "Have you seen Kes or Sexy Beast? Great British films." Haven't seen Kes, although I think I read the book back in the day. But I've seen Sexy Beast. Yeah, Ray Winston's fantastic. Who's the Ben Kingsley? Yeah, that's it. He is just incredible in that movie. Yeah, love Sexy Beast. Thundarius says, "I have a 3,700 sub channel. Cyberskull Media talking new music and sometimes movies. Recently covered Eric July's band. Always wanting to come on one day. Well, maybe you will, sir. We'll see what happens." Oh, God. Okay. Pentacus says, "Drinker, you're a hero. I just do what I have to do. Fight the good fight and keep combating Kathleen Kennedy, toxic positivity, and woke poisoning of entertainment. Question for you. What are your thoughts on Myst, the video game? Series ended on a downer, but the first was a classic." So I only ever really played the first one. And this was like back in the mid-90s. So this was... I think I played it on the Macs that we had in my high school. And Myst was just like preloaded onto it or something. Yeah, great, like interesting, slow-paced game. Like it was a puzzle-based game. It was like you were basically just moving through a series of interactive, static, 2D backgrounds, basically, with some very nice visuals, but like it was just a point-and-click adventure game. And I miss games like that in some ways because they just harken back to a very different era of storytelling in gaming. But yeah, I remember Myst being like really fun. The puzzles were really obscure. And if you didn't have a guide, then God help you because you were never going to finish that fucking game. But I liked it. It was just your imagination filled in a lot of the blanks for you. And like, I think this was a hallmark of games in the 90s. Like the graphics couldn't necessarily do the work for you. But you somehow filled in the blanks with your imagination, with your vision for what this game actually was and what the blocky kind of pixelated graphics were trying to show you. And it became something quite special. And I think Myst was a great example of that. And a very abstract sort of storytelling. So yeah, I liked it. And yeah, glad I got to play it. I don't know if I ever actually completed it. That's the thing. But okay. It's shot time. Definitely pouring a full shot here. I'm an hour in. I'm going to be fucked by the end of this. Okay. Cheers. Okay. Yep. All good. All right. It hasn't come back up yet, so that's okay. Next one is okay. Let me just hide this one. All right. Yeah. Kevin O'Neill says, "Can you think of an example where good directing made up for bad writing and vice versa?" Oh, okay. Good directing. This is the thing. I feel like a good director generally spots shit writing, and so they work to try and overcome it. But goddamn, what am I? Yeah. What movies are coming to mind here? I remember, like the Tremors series, right? The first one was fantastic. I remember the second one, like the writing, although it was a bit shit as a sequel and it was kind of unnecessary. I remember like it actually looked really good. And the action sequences when you got them were actually pretty well put together. And I thought they put a bit of effort into this one. It was it was kind of similar to what was the next one? Yeah. to take a more modern example, right? Beetlejuice 2. Again, I think the writing was pretty shit for the most part, and it was just like a bit of a member-berry kind of sequel. But I think the directing wise, it actually looked pretty good. Tim Burton's is still knows what he's doing, and so I think probably movies like that would be examples of where they've still managed to direct like a visually nice looking movie. Probably Alien Romulus as well, actually. Um, there's all kinds of problems in terms of the characters, the story. Like, there's a whole bunch of convenience going on there, but um, the cinematography and stuff, the direction generally looks great. Like, it looks and feels like an alien movie set in that universe. So yeah, probably those would be my examples. Like, I'm sure I can give you more if I had a bit more time, but that's what I got right now. Morpheus says, Hail Drinker, your How to Write a Book video finally got me inspired to work on my own writing projects. 2 short stories done and working on a novel series. Hope to send you a copy one day. Cheers. Awesome, man. And good luck with that. I hope it goes well. Yeah, I'm glad I could help you out just a little bit. Nine Son says, if I had a nickel for every time Trump prevented the first ever US president, I've had 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice. Yeah. People were talking about this, actually, making the joke that, like, man, like, Trump is a woman beater because he's beaten 2 women at this point. Dave says, Dear Drinker, please wish my wife Kerry a happy birthday and get well soon for Saturday. I introduced you when I used the phrase Drinker's Bar in conversation. She's now a regular at the bar. Nice. Well, yeah, Kerry, I hope you're feeling better. Please get well soon. And yeah, hello from the Drinker. Also, go away now. Rob Cortez says, "What's up, Drinker? Greetings from Southern California and a county that flipped red." Oh yeah, we got that one. Yeah. Our Rookie Fire says, Simon Kinberg, new Star Wars trilogy. Thoughts on him, and does it have a chance in hell of happening? No fucking way does it have a chance in hell of happening. We have had about 1 million Star Wars projects announced. They don't go anywhere. Who cares at this point? Fucking dead brand. So yeah, at this point, I'm pretty sure that I'm actually working on a Star Wars trilogy. I just haven't told you guys about it. Kathleen Kennedy got in touch and says, Drinker, I need you. We've got to do this. And I said, sure, Kathy, I've got you. But yeah, they gave me $100 million and I haven't produced jack shit for them. It's the Phoebe Waller-Bridge approach to making stuff. Boz Bondalo says, to be honest, I haven't seen a man beat a woman this bad since the Olympics. That was pretty good. Nice one, man. And yeah, it was a mauling, unfortunately. And that's the way it goes sometimes. Desert Cactus Films says, check out my fantasy short film. It's not woke. Lol. Well, there you go. That's part of the way there. Yeah, so Desert Cactus Films. If you want to check out his channel, he might have a movie there for you. Casey Boyd says, thoughts on Arcane 2 and Squid Game 2 trailers. Arcane 2, love it. Yeah, they've obviously still nailed the perfect animation. It looks awesome. Hopefully they continue the story and they do justice to the characters they set up in season 1. And I'm pulling for certain ones to still be alive because, man, that was a pretty open ending at the end of season 1. But we'll reserve judgment. Squid Game 2, yeah, don't really know if they needed to do a Squid Game season 2, but the trailer makes it look okay. Like, and I sort of get what he's doing. Like, he's going back into the game to try and save other people from it. That's okay. That's fine. I just I think you're not going to be able to equal the novelty factor that they had with season 1. So yeah, this could be a bit of a fail, but hopefully it's not. I hope Squid Game season 2 is good. So I hope I'm wrong on that one. Austin Ewer says, have you seen Darth Marenghi's Dark Place? It's a hilarious horror parody that I think would be right up your alley. I haven't seen it yet, I'm afraid. So I have heard about it and people have spoken very highly. What's this? Ben Kingsley hit on my mother when my parents happened to be in Poland when he was filming Schindler's List. Thank you from Finland. Well, okay. What a story, Mark. That's pretty good. Well, I hope they were receptive to it. That's all I can say. Haunted Casio says, what will happen to the channel if wokeness goes away under Trump? I will get to review a lot better movies, and I'll be a happier reviewer. You know, that's ultimately what I'm going for. You know, people have asked me before, like, oh yeah, if you don't have this like woke crap in movies, like, what are you going to talk about? It's like, well, I don't know, good fucking movies. That'd be nice. Like, if I could watch films and TV shows and be praising them because they're fucking brilliant, great. I might not get as many views, but that's okay, because at least I know that we're producing great entertainment now and people are going to be happy with it. So that's all right with me. Agu says, I don't think Disney wokeism is just ideology. They must be making money somehow from wokeism, even if losing on movies. How is that? Is Larry Fink funneling government money to them somehow? I don't think it is. I think it's as simple as they ideologically believe in this stuff. They've been infested by people who are deeply invested in it, and so they're going to try and push it every chance they get. And they've been lucky enough that they have a massively successful brand where they can get away with it to a degree. And so that emboldened them to think like, wow, we can push this into everything. And it turns out, no, you can't. And well, now they're suffering, and maybe they're going to change their minds. We'll see. G. Owen Weirs says, I would like to send you a few goodies, not a dead squirrel. Not peanut. To say thanks for great content this year. Is this acceptable? Seriously, not a dead squirrel. It's going to be a dead squirrel, isn't it? I fucking know it is. Yeah. The P.O. Box address for me, it should be on my About section on my channel. And if it's not, then just email me and just mention that, like, you were on Open Bar, Ask the Drinker, and I can send you my P.O. Box address. So if you want to send something to me, I can do that. So yeah, thanks, man. Fuck. Shot time. Leo Fisher says, video ideas westerns. Randolph Scott, career ends 1962, Ride the High Country, buddies shoot out at the end. Meanwhile, Clint Eastwood in Rawhide has some success. Last Western, 1992, Unforgiven, buddies shoot out at end. Coincidence or plan? Discuss. So, I haven't seen Ride the High Country, so I can't compare the two movies. But if you were to talk about Unforgiven, yeah, I mean, fantastic movie, and a fantastic, I guess, way to cap off the Western genre, almost by saying, like, yeah, here's the romanticism of the old West, the Wild West, and the people who were spinning tales about it while it was still going on. And here's the kind of grim, uncompromising reality of it. And you know, let's weave a story about a man coming back to that world after trying to put it behind him. That's pretty fucking cool. So I don't know how it compares to Ride the High Country. I just know Unforgiven as a movie that stands on its own merits is absolutely fucking fantastic as a Western. And I am planning still to do a video about it. I've already reviewed it, but I wanted to do like a follow-up, kind of like what I did with Falling Down, where I wanted to delve a little bit deeper into, you know, what's this movie trying to say? How does it show this stuff? Like, how does it do certain things and bring across its themes really effectively? And how can modern writers learn a thing or two from a film like that? Because fuck me, the idea of like the aging hero coming back for one last dance is something that they cannot do now. Their overriding priority is, hey, what if we made him an old, boring, retarded idiot? Yeah, it doesn't work great. Doesn't work great. But Unforgiven found a way to make that way more effective, but still play with similar ideas of a hero who's past his prime. So yeah, I want to talk about that. But you did send me $50, my friend, and so a deal's a deal. I'm building up the anticipation for this one. I tell you, man, I'm getting through this bottle though. Like, there's not that much left. Cheers, gentlemen. Oh. Anyway, let's see. I think there was another one there that came in. Oh no, that's fine. Yeah, that's the normal one. So, AG, who's been a member for 11 months, welcome aboard, sir. That's not really welcoming you aboard, but I hope you've been enjoying your time aboard. Says, Drinker, do you review music as well? I would like to get your thoughts on my music work. I am not in a position to review music, sadly. I am not a fucking like musician or an expert in that stuff at all. I do storytelling and writing and stuff. Music is not really my area of expertise. I am sorry, but yeah, can't really help you out there, my friend. Jonathan Shortall says, I'm writing a Celtic fantasy series with a female protagonist. Any tips on making her more Buffy than Girl Boss? P.S. B-film recommendations, Flesh and Blood. Thank you for the recommendation. So, when it comes to writing your female character, give her a bit of vulnerability. It's okay for her to lose occasionally. Just put her through the kind of trials that a male protagonist would go through. You know, she fails occasionally. She's matched up against people who are bigger and stronger or more experienced or whatever than she is. And play with that. What does that do to her? Does she have like a preconceived idea that she's going to beat them and she's better than them? And then that completely destroys her self-esteem. She has to like find a way to dig deep and find a way to carry on. Or is she already like, you know, at a disadvantage and she knows it and she has to find a way to better herself somehow? These are all things that you can do. Just be honest and don't be afraid to make your character vulnerable. The moment they are, the audience will start to warm to them. That's the key difference. That's what separates your character from like a Disney girl boss where she's just great right off the bat and doesn't need to change or develop or learn anything. So yeah, just always keep that in mind. There's always got to be room for the character to grow. Yeah, St. Louis says, Master Chief, mind telling me what you're doing at that Democratic rally? Sir, giving the Liberals back their agenda. Nice. Stefano Borini says, thank you. You have inspired me to study storytelling and old cinema as a hobby. Having a lot of fun. The past 20 years have been really depressing. I mean, it's not been 20 years. It's been more like 10 that's been like super depressing. But yeah, I get what you're saying. What's that? Oh yeah, Mo Sislak says, "Don't pull a Rakita." I will try not to. Yeah, it's not going to be that bad. I will. Yeah. Oh, hold on. That's better. Yeah. I won't make a habit of doing this, but on a night like tonight, it's okay. I'll just sleep it off in the morning. Jahoos, welcome as a new membership of the Fellowship of the Drink. So nice one, man. Michael says, "Hail Drinker, I've been really enjoying your gaming streams on your other channel. Which industry do you feel is more broken and why? Hollywood or video games?" Oh, I would have said Hollywood up until recently, but I feel like video games is catching up fast. The difference, though, is that I think the pushback is happening a lot faster because I was on Midnight's Edge yesterday talking about this. And I think, general audiences with cinema were slower to react to all this woke crap being pushed into their movies because, they're not tuned into the online space necessarily. They don't know about the culture war and all that stuff. And so they don't really react to it as much. Whereas gamers are fully aware of all the shit that's going on, and the moment they see it in their video games, they push back against it big time. That's why you see games like Concord just fail right off the bat. Dragon Age: The Veilguard seems to be declining rapidly, and it's way underperformed. Gamers are way more tuned in to like what's going on in the online space because obviously they have to be, and I think they push back a lot more effectively. So it's really crept into gaming more recently, like than movies. I know people will talk to about Gamergate, like the first one back in the 2010s. But the actual thing that was in the games wasn't as bad as it is now. But I think the pushback is a lot more intense now, and it's probably going to die out a lot quicker than it has in movies. So, yeah, that's my take on it, I suppose. What's this? Martin Lane says, "Hi, drinker. It's more than $50 and worth every penny." You don't know that. You're lying to me. Greetings from Poland. Please keep up the amazing and important work that you're doing. Cheers, mate. And well, thank you, man. And yeah, greetings from Scotland. I'm doing my best. I'm doing my best to fight the war. I'm not on my own though. You know, like Theoden in Lord of the Rings. I do not stand alone. I am lucky enough to have a lot of other YouTubers with me who are doing this as well and fighting the fight. So maybe we've helped just a little bit. That's all I can say. But all right, thank you, man. That's $50, so it calls for a shot. Nice. Definitely not going to throw up after this. It's going to be great. All right, let me see. Okay. Stuart Fields says, "Just finished Sacrifice. So good. I can't wait for Rogue Elements. All the best to you, mate, from far off New Zealand." Thank you, sir. And I'm glad you've enjoyed my books and Rogue Elements. Well, we should be putting it out pretty soon. Pretty soon. I'm talking like Sean Connery. Pretty soon. We've already showed it to the backers. We actually got some great feedback from them. And so we were able to tweak a few little bits in it, like shave like a few seconds off a scene or put like a little bit of ADR in another scene. And when you do that, you obviously have to rejig the soundtrack and everything and move everything around just ever so slightly. Obviously, Travis, the director and the editor, knows more about that than I do, but we did learn a little bit from the feedback we got from our Kickstarter backers after we showed it to them. So once we do show it to everyone publicly, it should just be a little bit slicker and a little bit, better tied together. So, jiggle, tipples. Mike Riendu says, "Save your liver. Have you ever seen reviewed Chayefsky's movie Network?" I've seen it. I haven't reviewed it. But yeah, I probably watched it 15, 20 years ago. Like I was a lot younger at the time. Probably didn't appreciate it for what it was then, but like I think I get it now, thinking back on it and what it was trying to show us. Yeah, haven't done a review of it yet, but it was a pretty fucking good movie, even back then. And yeah, good stuff. Oh yeah, someone asked me, "What's your thoughts on the 2011 Thing prequel?" Shit. They had the whole thing shot with animatronics and like physical props and stuff like they did with the original movie, and then they swapped it out for CGI. That's a horrendous decision on the part of the studio. So no idea why they did it. Shouldn't have done it. Hate the fact that they did it. And yeah, partly for that movie. Also, like the fact that it's a prequel and you kind of know who's involved. Like, you know it's not going to end well for any of them. Shouldn't have done it. So don't love it. Dark City, I've seen it, reviewed it. You can find it on my second channel. It's a drinker extra shots for Dark City. But yeah, very interesting film. I liked it. Okay. Discordian says, "What's your favorite Tales from the Crypt? Greetings from Kansas City." Okay. Never really watched the Tales from the Crypt series. I know it was like this anthology horror series and stuff, but like, I don't know. It was never on really in the UK, so I never got around to watching it, unfortunately. I just remember the Crypt Keeper being this like goofy kind of comedy character. But yeah, it's not really something I've watched, so apologies. Christopher B says, any chance of Breaking Bad review or recommendation? I mean, for sure, I'd recommend it. I just don't know what I can add to like the review discourse at the moment. Um, you know, it would be like when people wanted me to review like the original Silent Hill 2. It's a game that's been like picked apart and analyzed like to the atomic level. To the point where like there's nothing I can really say beyond like, yeah, it's really fucking good. It's a really interesting game. And it gives you a really great insight into like the kind of psychological makeup of a person who's done horrendous things and is trying to find a way to cope with it. Same with Breaking Bad. Incredible show, great performances, great storyline, a really great examination of how a man can devolve from like a mild-mannered teacher who wants to do good and is appalled by the idea of harming people to essentially like a career criminal kingpin who's willing to murder people to further his aims, but still retains some element of that good person inside him. It's a great character study, and yeah, I don't know what I can say beyond that. Yeah, it's definitely a really good show that's worth watching. Andrew Lee says, if you were to start writing a new series of books, which genre would you pick and why? So if I was to just leave the action espionage sort of thriller genre behind, where would I go? Maybe fantasy and maybe sci-fi. I haven't quite decided between the two. I guess it would just be a case of what can I add to either of those genres that would be just slightly different or interesting or whatever. I suppose I gravitate more towards fantasy because I think, I don't know, maybe there's eras of human development that you could port into a fantasy setting. Like, I don't know, what if you had a fantasy world where you do have like elves and dwarves and stuff like that, but the humans have reached like an industrial level of development where they have like steam engines and guns and stuff like that? How do they then combat like orcs and goblins and dragons and that sort of thing? Maybe that could be interesting. I'm sure someone has done that. Fucking hell, I'm not that original. But that might be the sort of thing that would interest me a little bit, Help Me says, Drinker, can you watch anime like Death Note, Monster, Vinland Saga, and Full Metal Alchemist? Anime is bigger and better than the woke Western slop now. I definitely could watch them, yeah. I mean, it just takes time. Like I watched all of Attack on Titan. Okay, great, but it takes weeks and weeks to get through it all because there's so many episodes, and I'm sure it's going to be the same with Full Metal Alchemist or Death Note or whatever. It's a huge genre, and there's a huge amount of content there, and it just, do I have time to get through it all? I'd love to. If I could clone myself or something, it'd be great, but I've just got to, I guess, pace out what I can do. Noob says, are you going to watch Clint Eastwood's last movie, Juror Number 2? It's out in the UK for a limited time, and I hope that you're going to review it. Highly recommend it. Yeah, I'll watch it, for sure. I mean, Clint Eastwood is a fucking legend. Obviously, you don't need me to tell you that, but yeah, if this is potentially going to be his last movie, I'd like to see how he goes out, He's directed some incredible films in his time, and I think if this is going to be his last one, sure, let's see what he's got. Finbar White says, hey, Drinker, hope you're well. Just back from my birthday meet with my kids. They treated me as I've been in hospital. What's the best birthday gift that you've ever bought or that you've ever got? Well, I mean, first of all, man, I hope you're feeling better and, that you get out of hospital soon. I don't know what's up with you, but I hope you get over it quickly. Best birthday gift? I don't know, man. Like, yeah, I don't know. Like all my birthday gifts were just like, as a kid growing up, they were just like things that I was just kind of into at the time. Like it might have been like a radio controlled car or like a new video game or something. Like it was all just stuff that just I liked at the time. I think for me it was probably Christmas 1996 maybe. I really wanted a PlayStation, right? And my parents kept telling me, No, you can't get that because it was just out and it was really expensive, and like we didn't have a lot of money when I was growing up, so I just kind of resigned myself to the fact that I wasn't getting one, and maybe I just have to start saving up. And like, you know, if I saved up for the next 6 months, maybe towards the end of the year, they could give me a little bit of money towards it, and we could get one. So it'd be a long while off. And unbeknownst to me, those devious fuckers, they'd got it for me, and I got a PlayStation on Christmas Day, and that was pretty cool. So yeah, that was unexpected. But yeah, now it's like, obviously, when you grow up, you don't get birthday presents so much, or Christmas presents or whatever. So now, when I see something that's interesting, I can get it probably. Like, it's okay. But yeah, that was probably my favorite one. Next one is Andre Mogosan says, any thoughts on diving deeper into Korean cinema? I'm sure titles like My Mister, or It's Okay to Not Be Okay will be tickling your fancy. Yeah, I'm always up for exploring Korean cinema, or you know, anything in the Far East. Really, it's just I'm not pretending to be an expert on it. I occasionally titles will rise to the surface where you'll get things like Parasite or Train to Busan or whatever, and it's like, this is fucking cool. I like it. Yeah, I'm always keeping an open mind with stuff like that. Excuse me. Those Jack Danielses are coming back. Locke says, would you make the same money if I were to purchase your book on Audible to listen to? I've seen so many credits, but I can read a hard copy and listen to something else on my walks. Whatever suits you, man. Honestly, don't worry about like maximizing my profits on this one or anything. Just, you know, whatever's most convenient to you. Just as long as you enjoy it, I'm happy. That's fine. Yeah. John the Beard joined up as Fellowship of the Drink, so welcome aboard. Anton Germacow says, not a question, but on N7 Day, I will heartily recommend Mass Effect Trilogy. Action-packed firefights, square-jawed heroism, heart-wrenching player choices, and a bunch of hot aliens for good measure. Well, sign me up. Yeah, I think it was Mass Effect 2 that I played, so I do have a bit of experience with it. I don't know why I jumped in at 2 instead of playing the first one, but yeah, I've heard nothing but good things about the whole trilogy. So yeah, one day I will get to play them all. They'll remaster them or whatever. What's it? Vaborn says, Drinker, if Trump sat down for an interview with you, what would you ask? I would ask him what his favorite whiskey is, what his favorite golf course is, and what his favorite restaurant is. That's what I'd want to know. I think you can tell a lot about a person by what they drink. And so, you know, he seems to pride himself on having his Scottish roots and stuff. And I would say, okay, tell me your whiskey. And then we'll see where we go from there. It's it's interesting stuff. I feel like he'd be up for talking about stuff like that as well. So that's good. I feel if you asked Kamala that sort of thing, she would just cackle maniacally for 5 minutes and then walk off. And that would be the end of the conversation. So I guess that's the difference. Oh, he doesn't drink. Right, that's it. He's out. He's out. I'm not going to talk to him at that point. How can he possibly have Scottish ancestry and doesn't drink? There's got to be something fundamentally wrong with that. Yeah. Next one. Jander. Hail, Drinker. I was wondering what your review process is. Do you sit with a pad of paper taking notes, or just have crazy memory allowing you to put it on video? I imagine the former would be difficult in a dark theater. Yeah, so that's assuming I go to a movie theater to watch most of the stuff that I review. Sometimes I'm able to watch it at home, if you catch my drift, and I can pause it whenever I want. But yeah, I don't know. Generally, I have a good memory for movies and stuff. So if I watched it, I can sort of dredge up my recollections of what worked, what didn't. And when you start going through the plot step by step to write your sort of plot summary, all the memories come back to you, and you generally remember what worked and what didn't. So that's usually how I do it. So watch it. I'll if I do go to the cinema, I'll generally watch it at night. Think about it overnight, and then when it's the next day, I'll get started writing my review. I'll kind of work my way through the plot, and I'll remember generally the things that stuck out for me, and then think, okay, well, how do I explore this? If it didn't work, if there was a problem with it, is there another example of a movie that did something similar where it did work? How can I compare and contrast the two? That's what I try to do as much as possible. So that's generally my process. Tom Waiting says, am I the only one excited for James Mangold's Bob Dylan biopic? I mean, you're probably not the only one, but I'd be lying if I said I was super excited for it. It's not really my thing, so I don't care that much, but hopefully it's good. Reptile says, looking to write my own story about female warriors who fight monsters. Do you have any writing advice for me to get me started? So I guess each person is different. And so some people like to just fly by the seat of their pants and just make things up as they go. Other people like to plot it out in advance. I'm very much a plotter. I like to write my story out in advance, write a synopsis of it, so I know where it's going, what's going to happen, where it's all heading, and then I can iron out any kinks in the story and try and fix problems before they arise. So that's my approach generally. So takes if you're to do it my way, start a Word document and just write out your synopsis for your story. You can start with the most basic thing ever that's just a few paragraphs of what are the main events in the story that lead you to your ending, and then gradually flesh out more and more detail as you go. So you've got a good sense of where it's all going, what the character arcs are going to be, what the major plot events are, how it all ties together, and hopefully it all makes sense. And if it doesn't, go back and revise it and keep working on it, because the last thing you want to do is to write 200 or 300 pages and then realize that it's all bullshit and you're going to have to go back and rewrite it all, because that is so crushing. Take it from someone who's done it. Desert Cactus Film says, check out Margaret the Brave. It's classic fantasy. All right, good recommendation. Unhinged says, Drinker, before you do the $50 shot thing, consult with Yellow Flash to see how it ends. Oh yeah. I'm hanging in there so far. I'm going to pay for this tomorrow for sure. Chris Delgado says, thoughts on Universal Epic Universe? Well, I'd like to see it. So I'm always interested in these new theme parks that they open up. I'm not sure what the overarching theme of it is going to be that sort of ties it all together. It feels like just a bunch of disjointed stuff. But if it's got good rides and stuff, then okay, cool. Gage Gross Crotch's missing bicep. Fucking hell, that's a deep cut at this point. Hey Drinker, love your channel. Been watching for a while now, but I just had a question. I was just wondering if you would like to twit my tipples. Tipples. Wasn't there a video of Boogie fucking losing his mind when Trump was announced the winner? That was a strange one. I never would have picked him as being super invested in politics, but oh well, takes all kinds, I suppose. Dark Hour says, here's an idea. The Drinker ruins a great film. So I don't know, do I rewrite it so that it's absolutely shit? I would just put myself in Ryan Johnson's mindset. It's okay, how can I fucking subvert expectations on this one and destroy it for everybody? Terry says, hey Drinker, a long-time viewer, first-time chatter. What's your favorite mind-blowing twist in a movie? Something like the end of Mr. Nobody that changes the context of the rest of the movie up to that point. It's probably going to be some of the classics, The Usual Suspects, where Verbal Kint is just unmasked as the mastermind behind the whole thing. He is Kaiser Soze. I had the Sixth Sense spoiled for me, so I never got that twist, sadly. I think Fight Club, I think that wasn't spoiled for me because I was quite young when I watched that. So, I think that twist got me as well. I was like, holy fuck. And then, I think my mate and I, we were watching it together and it was fuck, let's watch this thing again so we can see all the references to it. Like, you know, if he's just imaginary and no one interacts with him, let's see how the movie does it. And then we watched it again, and it was like, damn, they actually made it work. And it was like, holy shit, that's smart writing right there. I think that was the first time where it was like, oh wow, a movie can really like fuck with your head and really like change the whole concept of the story just with something like that right at the end. Oh yeah, Boogie does anything for views. Yeah, I can believe that. The whole ripping the shirt off thing, like no one needed to see that. Boogie. He did get his tipples out. Yeah. The drinker is Lara Croft. You've never seen me in a bikini. There's still time. Radio Spec says, no need for a shot. Thank you. Thank you. I might take a break, actually. I'm genuinely struggling to decide what I want to make my first video about on my channel. Media-wise, I love the same great movies, shows, and games, etc., but I don't want to hash the same ground that you all have. Any tips? I don't know. Maybe find your own unique way of approaching it, I suppose. You know, you can still talk about movies that we've all reviewed, but just like, I don't know, find an angle that we haven't seen or have like almost be playing a character. Like, you know, Space Ice is a good example where he's talking about old movies that we've all seen, but he's doing it in the style of like a guy who's trying to hype it up as like, you know, a 1980s trailer style. But still point out all the logical flaws in the story and stuff. Like that's, you know, a way you can do it. There's always a new angle you can find on stuff. So, yeah, just never discount that possibility of finding creative ways to explore existing media. And don't be put off by that, because if you've got something you want to say about it, then do it. Let's see. Oh, wrong one. D says, hey Drinker, would you ever cover art house films too, and the way that they dehumanize men, just like pop crap content movies like Marvel, etc.? There are a lot of bad art house films that would make great analysis. Yeah, I had someone email about this, saying that like the film festival circuit is like where a lot of this shit comes from, like Sundance, the Cannes Film Festival and stuff, where they're really all about like shitting on men and you know, just putting them down at every opportunity. I think I'm more inclined to cover mainstream movies about this because those are the ones that the majority of the general publics are exposed to. And it's almost like I'm trying to warn them off. Like, yeah, if you're going to watch this movie and it's just going to make you feel like a piece of shit, like probably not worth your time. Art house movies, they're by their nature are only going to be seen by a small audience. And so they're less of a concern culturally, if you know what I mean. But I totally get what you're saying. Like they're probably a lot worse than these mainstream movies generally because they can get away with it because they're kind of flying under the radar. But yeah, it is shit one way or the other. Courtney Young says, my dream vacation would be a castle tour of Scotland and a tour via luxury train. Don't think I'll ever actually make it over, but what would be some must-see sites that must not make the usual tourist list? The thing is, right, the tourist lists do encompass the best sort of views of Scotland. And so, I don't know, say you went to Edinburgh, go up Arthur's Seat, which is like, it's like an extinct volcano that overlooks the whole of Edinburgh. And so it's probably a good 30, 40-minute climb to get to the top, but you'll get spectacular views across the whole city. And if you actually go down the other side of it, it'll take you to a little village called Duddingston, which is like a little like borough of Edinburgh. And there's a pub there called the Sheep's Head, which is, I think it was 16th century. It was first made. So it's older than America, which is pretty fucking cool. And you will get amazing food and drink there, like genuinely a really good place to eat and drink. So things like that. If you go into Perthshire, like in the Highlands and stuff, go and see the Queen's View. That's up Perthshire way. And again, beautiful views across like the Scottish scenery. There's a whole loch right in front of you. Same if you go to Loch Ness, you're probably not going to see the monster, but It's a beautiful part of the country generally to see. Yeah, make your way up to Inverness if you can as well. Avoid Aberdeen because that's a fucking ugly city. And yeah, do you want to see Glasgow? You don't go to Glasgow to see it so much as experience it because it is quite the place. Yeah, it's the most American city that you'll find in the UK. It's all in a grid, so it's very much like city blocks, like you get in New York or other places. And the buildings even look kind of like that, but yeah, it's a distinctly Scottish kind of feel to it. So yeah, I guess those would be my recommendations. I know they're fairly touristy, but they're touristy for a reason, I suppose. Yeah, avoid Fife. Yeah, there's fuck all in Fife. Don't go here. And Mark of Reality said, I had a conversation with my brother, the pilot, who told me that people all over the world were paying attention to our election in the US and were rooting for Trump from England to Japan. Did you think this is true or not? People were definitely paying attention to it for fucking sure. Because as the saying goes, like if America sneezes, the rest of the world gets a cold. And yeah, I don't know. It obviously depends on what side of the political aisle you come from. But, if you're a conservative, you're going to want Trump to win, obviously. And I think the fact that guys like Elon Musk, who are pro-free speech, got behind him, that got so many people involved. The fact that Joe Rogan threw his weight behind him, again, that got so many people involved who are kind of otherwise apolitical. So that all that stuff, it just made it such a mass effort, I suppose. And I think what was interesting about his campaign is that it felt like the people who supported it were authentic. All the celebrities that threw their weight behind Kamala, you could tell that they were just being paid to do it. They just felt so half-hearted. They felt like inauthentic. Whereas guys like Elon Musk, they were kind of putting their whole future on the line by doing this. Same with Joe Rogan. Like, he probably took a lot of heat for doing that, but he did it because he believed in it. That's the difference. And I think that's the thing that people notice. They notice the authenticity. And as Robert Meyer Burnett said quite rightly, like, authenticity is going to be the currency of the 2020s. It's the currency of our modern era. And you can't put a price on that, I think. So I guess that's why the campaign was so successful. But you gave me a $50 super chat, my friend, and so it's only right that I finish up with this. And this is going to be my last one tonight because I gotta stop. This is gonna end badly. Cheers to you, sir. Yeah. Anyway, so after I finish being sick tonight, I'm probably going to turn in. But anyway, I'll probably finish up there. It has been awesome talking to you guys tonight for doing, to do like a sort of open Q&A thing. I know I haven't got through all the super chats. Like, I just couldn't keep up with them. And I will answer all of them that I've missed tonight. I'll do like a super chat catch up. But I appreciate you guys for, tuning in for this. This is like, we had almost 5,000 people watching us for this, just to listen to little old me talking. So I appreciate it. And for anyone wondering, Open Bar will return to normal next week. So normal business will resume. I'm going to be doing Open Bar on Thursday, and then I'm going to fly out to Grand Rapids in Michigan for the Comic-Con on Friday. So it's going to be a busy weekend for me. And hopefully for you guys who are out there, I will see you at Grand Rapids. But for now, at least, that is all I've got for today. So go away now.